Welcome to This Week of Four Horsemen, where we are both the greatest science fiction film of 2017. This is Valera Ron, and I am Valera Ryan.
Yes. Valerian.
Count as 3.
That's right. All right. Alex, we need a Valerian count.
Yes. 3. 4.
That's 4.
4.
Okay.
So what is This Week at Four Horsemen, Valera Ron?
Valera Ryan. This Week of Horsemen is our weekly show where we discuss our upcoming events, sales promotions, and other nerdy events in the Morgantown area.
Yes, and we're going to start off this show, like we do with every show, a giveaway.
Let's give some stuff away.
Yes. If you would like to get a free 3-month subscription
Say that
to any comic, just upload a picture of your favorite comic to Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook and tag us in it. You'll be randomly entered to get that.
Fun fact, they do not make a Valerian comic. 6.
It's 8, and it's based off of a comic book.
Well, there's not a current one. There's a graphic novel, yes.
A graphic novel is a comic book.
True.
Okay.
Not a current run.
No, it is not a current run. It is from the... All right, so jumping into comic books, like 30 years. Jumping into comic books. What is our first title this
First one,
week?
we got Star Trek Discovery. If you are not watching this on TV, you're messing up. Watch this show. It is amazing.
I think that when we had our Orville versus Discovery debate last year, and we were both kind of leaning towards Orville, had we seen the past, 3 episodes of Discovery,
yeah,
it would have been a little bit more of a discussion.
Totally different.
Yeah. Whew.
Yeah. No spoilers, but a really good show.
Wow.
I have not read the comic, so...
So this is talking about the origin of T'Kuvma, who is the Klingon prophet who's unifying the houses of the Klingon Empire that eventually starts this whole war with the Federation.
All right.
So that's that story. It's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, so definitely worth checking out.
All right.
And in the world of DC...
DC, we've got Doomsday Clock number 3 that has come out. I did not get to read the first 2 of these. I have read the third one.
Ugh.
Oh, it's such a good read. I need to go back and read the first 2 just to see if I'm kind of right with where I'm going with some of this stuff. But, yeah. Good run.
And we also have a new series. There's a new book about everybody's favorite Teen Titan, a lot of people's favorite Teen Titan. This is Raven, Daughter of Darkness. Yeah. Issue 1. There's only going to be 12 issues. I don't trust that leopard.
Yeah, the leopard's looking kind of sketchy.
Yeah. And Marvel.
Got some Marvel coming up. And Avengers Infinity War Prelude. It's a 2-issue run. First one came out this week. Had a flip through it. There's a lot of rehashing of kind of leading up, obviously, because it's a prelude to it, but kind of picks up where Civil War left off and kind of goes a little bit further into it. So, and both of our favorite books.
Star Wars. Poe Dameron 23 is out this week, which I have already read.
I have not got to read that one yet.
And you won't ever.
Maybe not.
But I believe this is drawing to a conclusion based on what we're seeing. I don't think there will be a Poe Dameron monthly serial in 2019.
Really?
I think it's going to be over by the end of the year.
You don't think they'll jump ahead of Last Jedi? They've done it before. They did it in the original Star Wars.
Yeah, but
jumped. It was awful. It was bad.
But the stakes are so much higher.
True.
Yeah, no. That's not what I want to see happen.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
We've also got a one-shot out this week.
Yes, the Forces of Destiny one-shots are continuing. This is the 4th and second to final one featuring Ahsoka and Padme.
Ahsoka.
We don't see a lot of stuff with Padme.
No.
So, novels, comics, video games, she is of the trilogy of main characters, she is by far the one that is ignored the most.
The most scarce, yeah.
Yeah. And so much stuff on Obi-Wan, Anakin, Luke, Han, Leia, even Poe, Rey, Finn.
Yeah. I think some of the droids get more covered than she does.
The droids are in all the movies.
Yeah, pretty much.
All the movies.
Every book, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Versus Series?
Versus Series. So
Versus Series is back.
We're we're going to go over last week. We had our 2 nominations from the Orville, Alara versus Derulio, and
Rob Lowe.
She just put him on the floor and broke his arm. That's all that happened. Our winner of our best comment contest was one Mr. Seth Davis, and he wrote in saying,
he said, quote, "I love the Blue Man Group. They could take on the Avengers any day. DJ Derulio is definitely the backbone of their team. I heard one time he beat Master Chief in a 2 out of 3 rock, paper, scissors match, then went on to kick a sports ball 300 yards with a sprained ankle. Also, apparently he's played by Rob Lowe, which is enough reason to vote by its own."
And despite that compelling argument,
he still lost.
He still lost.
He didn't stand a chance.
This week we have what I feel is our first mismatch of the year.
Yeah.
Jean-Luc Picard versus Thor.
Look how intent he is.
Oh, like if there's any unpowered human that have a chance.
Now, if this was a staring contest, Picard would have it.
I feel like Picard might have a chance to just talk him into submission. Just be a diplomat and just...
Fine, Picard, here's my hammer, I quit.
What was it? There was the Superman Red Sun. Mm-hmm. I just read that, and there's a part in it where Brainiac is Superman's ally, and he doesn't want Superman to talk to Lex Luthor because he calculates that Lex Luthor could talk Superman into killing himself within 17 minutes. I feel like that's Picard's only out here. He's got to talk Thor down.
He has a lot of technology at his disposal, but he's still going up against a god.
Or alien.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. I think Thor's going to win this one.
I would have to agree. I really don't think that Picard's going to pull this one out.
No. Unfortunately.
No. He did take on the Borg in one, so...
Yeah, that's true. Anyways, so you were supposed to have a prediction for the overall...
I do have predictions. So I had a look at the brackets earlier this evening, and I liked a lot of the names. A couple of them I'm not too sure about, but I think that in the final round, the very last round, we're going to see Voldemort going up against Carnage. 2 very strong characters.
The wizard who couldn't take over a high school.
That's the one, yep.
Versus an alien death machine.
Yes.
And who do you think will win that one?
All right, so I honestly think the only handicap that Voldemort had was Harry Potter. So Harry Potter is nowhere in this thing. So Voldemort's a pretty powerful guy. So I still think that he'll be able to take out Carnage.
We'll see.
He's got magic. All right, how about yours? How about yours?
I said a couple weeks ago when we were supposed to do this the first time that I think we're going to see Thor and Hulk in the final round. Although Hulk is fighting Gandalf early on, so that could put a monkey wrench in it, but we'll see.
Okay.
All right, moving on to last week's events.
Had a big weekend last weekend.
Yeah, it was this little thing called Child's Play.
Yeah, that was a thing.
I just want to have a huge shout out to everyone who came out to all of our events, all of our event winners, people who made donations, who bought raffle tickets, made bid on our charity auctions. We had just showed our X-Wing winners. This is the top 4 from our Modern Team event. There's me dying after the chip challenge.
We're gonna talk about that in just a minute.
Yeah, it was bad. Josh and Kenny won the battle for the blades. We added that 4th sword on there with all the employee signatures. Then there's a huge turnout that we had for our Friday Night Pokemon and Friday Night Magic events. We had like almost 50 people in the store for just those 2 events alone, not to mention everything else we had. Yeah. So
it was a great event. It raised a lot of money. We have a sort of final total. I don't remember the exact, but it was over
it's over $3,300. Yeah, it was not quite at 35, but getting to that point.
Yeah. Thank you.
If you made a pledge, would you please come in and make good on that so we can send this money to the hospital? If you want any of the auction items, please come in and compensate us for those so we can get this ball rolling.
If you want some raffles, we still have a few raffles that haven't been picked up. Please come grab those. And if you want to make any last-minute donations, we haven't gotten with Children's Hospital yet. That'll probably be next week.
Until the money is in their hands, we will still take it in. So if we could get over that 3,500 mark,
that would be kind of awesome.
That would be wonderful.
Would you eat another chip?
No.
So, I know it's not part of the schedule, and I want to kind of derail it for a few minutes. If you haven't watched this, go to our YouTube channel. I don't know if it was on Facebook. It was on Facebook. So if you missed it, have a look at the chip challenge that Ryan, Lucas, and Caleb did. It's one of the most amazing pieces of cinema you guys will see all year.
31 minutes and 27 seconds of sheer agony.
The best part was the peanut butter spoon. I'm sorry. If you ever want to see somebody get destroyed with, what is that stuff called? Capsaicin? It's the hot stuff that was in these chips.
Yeah. Basically, it lasted 2.5 days.
Yeah. He's just able to walk upright.
This happened Saturday night. Today is the first day that I've felt right.
Yeah.
And I can't go into details about it on the air, but basically what happened is my body decided to do a complete system reboot. And I can't give you details.
Did it make the Windows noise? It probably made some noises.
It was bad. So
watch the video.
Remind me about that later. I have a funny story about my first day of work in relation to this.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So these guys did this challenge as part of the charity event, raised over $400. These guys went through literal hell to raise this money, and I really appreciate what they went
Caleb and I went through literal hell.
Lucas
was he was uncomfortable for an hour.
Yeah. Lucas was like, "You got any more of them chips?"
Yeah. An hour later, he's in the food court eating jalapenos, but while I am lying on the table, debating about having them call 911 to pump my stomach. The worst stomach cramps of my life. Let's move on.
Yep. All right. You have bad flashbacks.
Yes. Thank you, everybody who came out to Child's Play events. We
Yes.
could not have done it without you.
See you next year.
Especially Sean, but we'll talk about you more later.
Yep, Sean's coming up.
All right, so moving on to our events. These are the gaming events that we are having this week. We're going to talk specifics about some of our unique events this week. If you'd like any more details on any of these, please go to facebook.com/ForcemanComics and click on the events tab.
Yep. All right, so this Wednesday we have a HeroClix event coming up. It is called the I Have a Dream event. We talked a little bit about this last week. It was rescheduled for this week. So Wednesday, 6:45, it's got a $5 entry, golden age format, 400-point teams, and the highest point character must be African-American.
Yes.
In honor of
Martin Luther King
Martin Luther
Day.
King.
Yes. Like we said, this was from last week, but it's been rescheduled due to weather and various things. You can come out tomorrow for that.
Speaking of rescheduling, we had
the Pokemon Sun and Moon Ultra Prism pre-release event. That was supposed to be last weekend, but due to a shipping error, we weren't able to get the packs in time. And we're going to have it this Sunday. We're going to have a sale for the Pokemon players as a little bit of an apology.
Yep.
More on that later. It's this Sunday. Registration opens at noon, and the event starts at 1 o'clock. $30 entry, and it's just your typical sealed event.
Yep.
With the new set. First chance to get your hands on those new Pokemon cards.
this set is actually supposed to be pretty good. So
yeah, I've heard it's good.
A lot of people come out for this.
Unlike the Crimson Tide of...
Crimson Invasion.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this week in Star Wars is kind of leading into a new segment we've got called
Dice Masters.
This
totally Sunday
skipped. Yes.
at 2 o'clock.
Sorry, Truby. I'm skipping
He's not
ahead.
sorry.
I'm totally sorry.
So we have our Dice Masters event this Sunday at 2, $3 entry fee, and it is the Golden Age constructive format.
If you need more information on Dice Masters, Truby actually does a lot of videos on our YouTube channel. Some great informational videos on the game, on gameplay, theory, things like that. Check them out. Good stuff. It's very good stuff.
I'm calling Jerry out in the comments on the Facebook page. He says those chips are no big deal. Fight me, Jerry.
No, he said the chip was hilarious.
And Jay says Jerry said they're not.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Join us. We're actually watching the Facebook comments as they come in.
Yeah.
This time around.
So we have a new segment that is not going to be a weekly segment. It's called Top 10.
Top 10.
And to introduce it, we're going to combine it with This Week in Star Wars by, of course, doing our top 10 Star Wars movies.
Yep.
So, do you want to do both of us do our 10 and then both do our 9, or do you want to do your list, my list? Because of course we didn't prepare this.
We should probably let's run it from 10 backwards.
Yeah.
We'll go back and forth.
Okay. So my 10 is probably most people are thinking there are 10.
That was honest to God. That was
Are you counting Han Solo? No, I'm not counting Han Solo. There are 10 theatrical full-length feature films.
I had to Google this.
Yes.
And he's right.
Star Wars, The Clone Wars, the animated film that launched the animated series, and the series was way better.
Yep.
It's not a bad movie, but it's definitely my number 10.
Okay.
And you
I didn't even remember it, so
you forego to number 10.
Yeah,
You're going to start at 9.
I'm going to start at 9. So my number 9 It is no mystery that Return of the Jedi is not one of my favorite Star Wars movies. I actually
is your least favorite.
I ranked it at the bottom of the pile, below Phantom Menace, below Attack of the Clones, and I will defend that in a few minutes.
I think it's a trap.
It is not a trap.
Pretty sure it is. For me, number 9. Okay, so 8 and 9. I'm going to say this process is hard for me. I see them. I see them all as one story, essentially one big movie. Yeah. Putting them together is like choosing my favorite children or choosing my favorite food. It's just not something I can really do easily. But so there's a few points on here where it could go. One day it'd be like this, and one day it'd be like this. And the first one is 8 and 9. 9, I have Attack of the Clones, which I think, and we're not going to get into all of this, but I think is an underrated movie, but definitely deserves to be towards the bottom of the barrel for various reasons, all of which we will not get into on this. And so that's our number 9s. Yep, number 8.
Number 8. My number 8 was
our number 8.
We matched on this one. Our number 8. Both of us picked the Phantom Menace for our number 8 pick.
And like depending on the day, I may have Attack of the Clones in this spot, and then
the redeeming qualities for Phantom Menace for me. The only reason it didn't hit the bottom was it is the beginning of the story. For me, the story of Star Wars has always sort of been about Anakin Skywalker's rise and fall. So at least the first 6.
Just comparing the two of them, why ultimately I might rate Phantom Menace over Attack of the Clones, Qui-Gon Jinn.
True.
There is an actual dogfight in this movie. I'm not counting Obi-Wan versus Jango in the asteroid field. There's a real dogfight in Phantom Menace, and I really think the Battle of Naboo was cool. I don't like Jar Jar, of course, but I Gungans are fine, and I thought the Gungan army versus the droid army was a cool thing.
You know, I've heard actually Jerry Toppins just said it. Jerry Toppins, Phantom Menace is actually his number 1 at the top of his list, above all of other movies. And we'll discuss.
I mean, Pod Race.
The Pod Race is awesome.
Pod Race is amazing. Cool. All the foreshadowing in that movie. There are a lot of strengths of it, but even if I'm going to go out there and say, yes, I like Phantom Menace, I love it, it's a great movie, it's got to be at the bottom, or towards the bottom. Number 8.
All right, so number 7, we varied wildly on this one. I can't believe you picked that for your 7.
Okay.
All right.
You were going first.
All right, so mine, I picked Attack of the Clones as my number 7.
All right, so we're kind of mirroring each other a little bit until my number 7, which is Rogue One, which...
Oh, that's painful.
Okay, it is...
That hurts.
It is an amazing, amazing movie. Out of all of these, it feels the least like a Star Wars movie.
I think that might be why I ranked it a lot higher, because it was so off the beaten path, I guess. And it told a story that I've always wanted to know, even as a kid.
I've always wanted to know that, and but it's I put it under the rest of the Star Wars movies because it is story-wise set aside.
Right.
And it has nothing to do with the Skywalkers, which is its strength. I don't think that it should.
Right.
But it's like a mid-act story. It doesn't have anything to do with the 3 acts.
Yeah.
So that's why I put it below everything else, except for Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. Cause.
Yeah. All right, so number 6. My number 6 was Force Awakens. A little bit lower than the rest of them.
Our number 6.
Oh, yeah, number 6. Actually, yeah, we did 6 and 5.
All right, so we had... So this is the other one where, depending on the day, I might have them flipped.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm still debating about this one because...
I need to see it again.
I don't think I'm going to have a clear answer to this till I see Last Jedi like 15 more times.
Yeah, it's got to get out on video. We need this.
Force Awakens is like almost like a perfect movie.
Yeah.
But it didn't really show me anything new.
Right.
Last Jedi shows you so many new things.
The pendulum swung way far over. Yeah.
So it's hard to kind of place them.
Yeah.
All right, so we both had Force Awakens at 6, Last Jedi at 5. Number 4 for you. Mine
was Rogue One. I really like that movie. Like I said, I've always wanted to know the story. I was real happy with the way it went. It tied up nicely. There was nothing left hanging.
It's a wonderful movie.
It was a good movie.
For me, it's Revenge of the Sith, and I will put that movie above anything Star Wars aside from the original 3. Yeah. Prequel haters, you can fight me. That I don't care how much you like Rogue One, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, all that stuff. Revenge of the Sith is still like the gospel of post Return of the Jedi Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Return of the Sith is the gospel.
Yeah. Now let's see. Garrick disagrees with you. He thinks Episode 3 should be your number one.
Everybody disagrees with me on everything.
It's true. All right, so
number 3.
My number 3. I saw this movie in theaters. I was one of the lucky kids to be able to grow up with this stuff. A New Hope. It's right up there. I can't say enough nice things about A New Hope.
And I put the Empire at number 3.
Yeah.
Maybe like in terms of, okay, so this is where I'm going to say some criticisms. But that's
I can't follow.
But that's only because nobody wants to hear us sing the praises of Empire because Empire is basically perfect.
True.
So why would I rate it when it's commonly considered to be the best one? Why would I put it at number 3? And there's two big reasons for that. And the biggest one is as a kid, it was the bottom of my list. Like my list at like age 12 to 14.
Yeah.
Like let's say when Attack of the Clones came out, Empire was at the bottom of my list.
Yeah.
I thought Phantom Menace was straight better. it doesn't have as much nostalgia with me. Like I would often watch A New Hope, skip Empire, and then go straight to Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
Although I've still seen Empire like 1,000 times.
Oh yeah.
And then for me, just looking back on it, as I've gotten older, I've appreciated it more and realized that it's better than almost everything. But I still think it's a little slow in the mid-act.
Empire is. Yeah. I think it is. That is a fair. That is fair. But there's a lot of good stuff that happens.
At least compared to A New Hope and Return of the Jedi for me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So my number 2 is actually Empire Strikes Back.
So neither of us have Empire at number
top.
1.
Yeah.
Well, it may be like in terms of a technical readout, it might be the best movie.
Yeah. All right. So Empire Strikes Back was my favorite until my number 1 came out, and then
which you should know by process of elimination.
Yeah. If you
But Empire.
Right. Empire. So mine was Empire. Yours is
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
And this is the third thing where my number 1 and my number 2 change depending on the day.
Yeah.
Where if you put a gun to my head, I guess I ultimately have to put Return of the Jedi at number 2. But as a kid, it was my favorite. Yeah. Like it was just the epitome of movies.
Yeah.
I've watched Return of the Jedi probably more than any of them except for maybe my number 1. It's like literally making me choose between Return of the Jedi and what I have as number 1 is like putting Emma and Drake and then pick one. Like no.
Oh God.
So of course at number 1 you controversially have.
For me is Revenge of the Sith. It is that movie is what Star Wars is all about. It is the culmination of the turning point in Anakin's life where things just go really, really bad, really, really fast.
I mean, I have to agree. I have it rated above everything other than the original trilogy, right. And I don't think it's a great leap to say that would be your favorite because it's so good.
It is good. Now I rated for me 1 and 3 could change on the given day. So A New Hope or Revenge of the Sith, they're both very, very pivotal moments in Star Wars history for me. So they both mean a whole lot to me.
The midnight. It was my first midnight showing was Revenge of the Sith, and it was my first time. I had just gotten my driver's license. It was my first time going out after dark with my friends without my parents. So we went to we had to go to the next town over because Buchanan didn't have a
sold out.
Buchanan didn't have a theater at that point. We had to go to Elkins, and also Buchanan didn't have a Taco Bell at that point, so we made a point to go to Taco Bell and then go there 2 hours early and wait, and we got front row seats, and it was the greatest movie going experience of my lifetime. I will always forget it. I will never forget it, and I will never forget lying in bed that night just thinking, it's over.
Yeah, that's it. There will never be another.
And The Force Awakens.
I like Garrick's comment. Return of the Jedi better than Empire.
It's treason then. Yeah, I mean, it is. I'm sorry. And then, of course, my number 1, Star Wars.
The classic.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's probably the closest we'll ever get to the perfect movie.
Yeah.
Period.
What else can you say? Do you remember the first time you saw it? Do you remember the circumstances?
Yep. I was either 5 or 6. I was in first grade, so I was either 5 or 6. We were at Walmart, and it was when they re-released. They re-released. No, it was the theatrical editions where they re-released them in a VHS set.
Yeah.
And we found them, was like, Mom, what's this? It's got this green guy on it, and it's cool. All right, we'll buy those. And then my brother and I were just like,
yeah, yep. What is this? Why have you hid this from me all my life?
And then since that day, there has not been a day in my life where I have not thought about Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. It's very ingrained in our culture.
In my head.
Except for Alex's culture. He has no culture.
He's just muttering. He's just back there muttering away.
This whole segment has just
awful.
Put him over the edge.
All right, so let's talk about something that's not Star Wars. So this week in movies, last week I told you guys about a movie called Marion the Witch's Flower that had its North American debut through Fathom Events last week. I took Emma and I went and saw it at Cinemark in Clarksburg. Okay, so...
How was it?
You could nod your head and say, because I know you don't know anything about it.
My eyes are just going to glaze over at this point.
Okay,
so... take a little nap. Let me know.
So Studio Ghibli is like the premier anime film studio.
Okay.
They make films.
Right.
Like legitimate films.
Right.
They have had 3 of the highest grossing films in Japanese theatrical history. You've probably heard of Howl's Moving Castle, Spirited Away, movies like that. So this director had directed 2 movies for them, then left to make his own studio and took a lot of their animation department. And this is the first movie from that studio. It's Studio Ponoc. It was not well reviewed movie, so I kind of went into it with low expectations and kind of trying to, because the trailer looked really nice.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out like what are people not going to like about this movie. It turns out this director has taken a lot of elements from all of these iconic Ghibli movies like Spirited Away, My Neighbor Totoro, Howl's Moving Castle, Princess Mononoke, and just kind of smashed them into one movie. And that sounds bad, but he found a way to make it its own unique story. Yeah. It's hard to explain, but I highly recommend it. It was an amazing movie. Blew me away. Really think anybody should just give it a chance.
Yeah, like you said, I'm really not into a whole lot of anime, but I did see the trailer for this, and it actually looked relatively interesting. I mean, it looks like something I would go see.
Got a real storybook fantasy feel to it, with the most stunning hand-drawn animation that you have ever seen.
See, I will watch if any animated movie that has really, really good animation, like Kubo. I love that movie. I mean, the story was it was a very simple story, but the animation style was amazing. This
is 75 minutes of pure eye candy.
Yeah. It's like Valerian.
Visually stunning Valerian was.
That's 11.
Yes.
Bringing it back.
Moving on. Talking about more movies, the countdown to infinity continues with week 4, Thor.
For Thor.
4 for Thor.
This is like Thor's Day because he's fighting Picard. He's in our countdown to infinity.
Except it's Tuesday.
It is Tuesday.
Yeah, it's not Thor's Day.
It should be Thor's Day.
It should be.
Every day's Thor.
So
Jerry Toppins, huge Valerian fan. Don't know if you know that or not.
Yeah, it was his favorite movie of last year. We're sorry, Jerry. So thoughts on Thor?
All right. I didn't like Thor going into the movie. I had very low expectations, but after the movie, I was not a hater of Thor. I still wasn't a big fan.
The character?
The character.
Okay. What about the movie, though?
The movie, I thought was... I thought they could have done more with the character. I really do. I just didn't think that there was there wasn't a really big villain presence. I don't think. Well, Loki. I mean, Loki is always a presence, and he's always just there, kind of messing around. You knew he wasn't going to kill him. There was no threat to him ever.
He wasn't trying. He wasn't trying to kill him. He was trying to kill. He was trying to destroy Jotunheim.
Yeah, but I just don't think that they did a whole lot with Thor. What do you think?
So this was the first one I ever saw. This was my introduction.
Introduction.
Yeah,
really?
I just growing up, I was more about anime and manga than I was about superheroes.
Right.
Batman and Ninja Turtles aside.
Right.
So I didn't catch Iron Man when it was first out. this was the first time that I had actually seen any of the MCU movies. And this sparked the whole thing where I went back and watched the other ones. And since Thor, I've seen them all on opening night since they've come out.
Yep.
So I held this movie in very high regard in my memory. And I haven't actually seen, since last night, I hadn't actually seen it in maybe 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
It didn't, rewatching it, it didn't particularly live up to the memory I had of it.
Right.
I think it is a great movie.
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth is amazing. Tom Hiddleston's amazing. Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, yeah, but Anthony Hopkins.
I think a big detractor for it from me, and this pains me to say because I am a huge Natalie Portman fan. She is amazing. I love her. I thought Jane Foster was just so shoehorned into this movie.
We've got to have a love interest.
Yeah, it's if you look at them as a timeline, you'll see that all the earlier ones have shoehorned love interest characters, and as they move forward, they stop doing that.
Yep. When they took her out of the recent one, I was totally fine with that.
And Valkyrie was in Ragnarok, and she was kind of a love interest, but it wasn't a subplot.
Yeah.
It was just a thing there, and they had some chemistry.
Yeah. The best thing I thought about the Thor movie, and it's going to be so dumb for me to say this, but the thing I liked the most was what they did with the Rainbow Bridge. I went in and I'm like, how in the world are they going to depict this rainbow bridge that looked just so cheesy in the comics? Mm-hmm. It was beautiful. It
was really cool.
It was really cool.
I do think I like this movie because it has more of a fantasy element to it than the other ones do. I thought this was maybe the funniest of the earlier ones. I mean,
yeah, there was a lot of humor in this.
I fell out of my seat the first time I saw it, and he throws down that coffee mug. How about another?
It's very Asgardian.
Idris Elba is totally intimidating in this movie. But it
Garrick sums it up the best for me. Thor's the most okay movie ever made. I agree with that.
I don't.
No.
I think it is.
It was okay.
No, I think it is a really good movie. It just doesn't live up. Like in my mind, I remember it being like a 10.
Right.
And it's really more like an 8.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. All right. So moving on, we've got our Horsemen of the Week. This one's going to be a good one, guys. So, like we talked about, we had our Child's Play event this past week. Local community member Sean Carroll stepped forward and graciously offered to donate funds up to $1,000. Anything that we made up to $1,000, he was going to match dollar for dollar, which was going straight to Children's Hospital here in Morgantown. So Sean, hats off to you. It was an amazing gesture. We really appreciate it. I'm sure the kids are absolutely going to appreciate it.
If the segment was Horseman of the Year, we just retire it for 2018.
We should. All right, Alex, make a note. For the Horsies this year, we should have Horseman of the Year.
Wait, that was something we talked about, but Horsies was so rushed we didn't.
Next year. Our first nomination for Horsey of the Year
is Sean Carroll.
All right,
thank you, Sean. I'm sure that your generosity inspired other people to come out. We had big turnouts for a lot of our events. The Team Unified Modern tournament, we had 39 players, which is the largest Magic tournament that we've had
in a while.
Quite a while, excluding maybe pre-releases. But thank you.
Yeah, I think I haven't looked at the previous numbers, but I think this may be the most we've ever raised for Child's Play, or pretty close to it.
If not the most, it's real close.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We really appreciate it.
All right, so moving on to the Four Horsemen mailbag. This is our last week doing Cosmo questions.
Goodness. Please ask us better questions. Anyone. All right,
so,
you guys in the Facebook group, come up with some questions. I'm challenging you.
Send a Four Horsemen mailbag question in the group chat right now for next week.
If you send a good one, we'll answer it after this one.
Sure.
On the fly.
All right, sure. Just throw them out there. All right, so a local person dared us to do an entire month of questions from Cosmo, and we did it for some reason. This is our last one. Ron, you're going to answer first.
I am.
Which movie or TV mother-daughter pairing best represents your relationship with your own children?
Shut up, Meg. Family Guy. We've got Lois and Meg. That's pretty much it. I love you, Lincoln. I tried to think of something where, How about you?
Well, it's funny that you should say that.
Yeah.
Because mine is like the
antithesis.
Sorta. But The catchphrase of my mother character that I relate to the most is just.
That's great.
Because Marge is just.
She lays down the hammer.
She does, but it feels like it never makes a difference. Because
she tries so hard.
She does, and that's how I feel. I'm just no matter how much I nag, it just never makes a difference. Yeah. I love you, Emma, but just you're so Bart, and Emma is so Bart and Lisa at the same time, where she's just so smart and independent, but she's just so bullheaded. If you just gave her a skateboard and a saxophone, I swear,
just fill them both.
Yeah,
great.
And then Drake is basically Maggie, just perfect.
Yeah. All right, so our Did You Know segment, Did You Know Four Horsemen? We do this thing. Every event that we have is covered by what we call the Four Horsemen Guarantee. And what is our Four Horsemen Guarantee?
Basically, let's say you come out to a Magic draft, and we don't get enough people to fire. We will send you home with a booster pack for your time.
Yep. As our way of saying thanks for coming out.
Yeah, just a little incentive, and that way also, if you're ever a little worried that an event may not fire, well, you at least can guarantee yourself you get that booster pack.
You have nothing to lose by coming out.
Yes, exactly.
Free stuff.
And only to gain.
Yep.
And our sale this week.
In honor of our Pokemon pre-release, we are going to do 20% off Pokemon TCG singles. Anything that we have some really, really awesome stuff that have been traded in recently. So come in, check out the inventory. You can check it out in-store or online, shop.forhorsemancomics.com.
Yes. And we're going to move into our social medias. Please like us at facebook.com/4horsemancomics. Follow us on Instagram at 4horsemancomics. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/c/4horsemancomicsgaming. Follow us on Twitters at the number 4horsemancomics. Watch all of our streaming content at twitch.tv/4horsemancomics. And shop our TCG inventory at the address that Ron had previously mentioned. Let's get into our movie scene. Before we do this week's scene, we got a roll for next week. And I hope we get a better one than we got for this week.
Should we put down something like soft? That's going to make a lot of noise.
Number 5, AJ Clock Empire, the Carbonite scene.
Finally!
Finally! Star Wars!
All right, so we have a week to build the entire Carbonite chamber. And go.
We're going to need more people because we need a Chewbacca.
We need a 3PO.
We're going to have to get some more people in on this. Yeah, for sure.
Can you be an Ugnaught, Alex?
But this week we have the You Had Me at Hello scene from Jerry Maguire that was suggested by one Matthew Reynolds.
Thank you, Matthew.
Yes, so we're going to go ahead and zen ourselves. We have to channel the characters.
Yes.
I have to get my Renee Zellweger on.
Wait, are you Renee or am I? I thought I was Renee. Oh God, I'm Tom Cruise.
Hold on, I'm becoming one with the Zellweger.
I'm apparently Tom Cruise.
Hold on, we're channeling. There we go.
You complete me. I love you. You complete me, and I just
shut up. Just shut up. You had me at the Vulcan hello. You had me at the Vulcan hello. I'm sorry, I just couldn't just not. Just
Pun far.